Hey guys, so today I have a video going through my UI and weak auras. I'm going to go through all of the add-ons that I use, and I also have some links in the description to some weak auras that I think you guys would find helpful. So let's just get started with the basics. For my unit frames, I use shadowed unit frames. I really don't have much customization to them. I just kind of have the bare minimum. I just have buffs, and I have some debuffs that I track. I'm sure you could do a lot more with this add-on than I have done, but I wanted something pretty minimal. Up here I have Titan panel. You can show or hide as much as you'd like. I really like this add-on because I can easily track all of my computer performance as well as adjust the volume over here, and I find that really helpful. For my mini map, I use SexyMap. It's pretty minimal as well. I just use the square option and I got rid of the border. I have details down here. I think everybody uses that, so I'm not going to go through it. As far as my bars go, I use Bartender, and I hide a lot of stuff that I don't need to see all the time. So like I have professions and mounts bound. I also have some arena macros that I use. I don't really need to see them, so I just hide them. And then I have some other ones over here with like repair. I have some other raid leading macros and stuff that I used to use. I have them with an alpha so that I can still kind of see them, but I can just mouse over and be able to see them. It's pretty easy. If you want to do that, you just go to one of the bars, go to fade out alpha, just adjust that. Make sure you have this selected, otherwise it won't actually work. So like, see, if you do this, you can fade it out, and then when you hover over it, it'll go to the full alpha. But anyway, that's how I have that set up. I use pretty basic key bindings as well. I don't think I do anything pretty special. I do use mouse overs, but I use 1 through 5, Q, E, F, G, all that basic stuff. Shifts of all of those for some major cooldowns, and then over here I have this lined up to look like my Logitech mouse. I used to use a Razer. I've been playing WoW for a really long time, and I've always used some type of MMO mouse. Down here I have my invisibility potion and my battle reses, as well as my arena drinks, and all of my consumables, because I find it really helpful to just be able to look at everything in a glance and kind of know what I have without having to open up my bags, which brings me to my next point. I don't use a bag add-on. Not that this really matters for Mythic Plus, but I've never found one that actually worked for me, and that's that. So, oh, and the last add-on that I use is Chatter. It's pretty simple. I just like being able to customize it and do what I want without having to look at the ugly Blizzard UI. So with that, I'm sure you guys are here for my weak auras, because that's pretty much the question that I get. So as far as weak auras go, I'm gonna have some gameplay up on the screen so you can see what my UI looks like in combat. They're okay. I don't really necessarily suggest them to other people. I've just kind of gotten used to them. What I like about them is that I can keep my eye on the party frames and not have to look very far to see what my cooldowns are at. But I'm sure you guys are really curious about the tracker that I have next to my party frames. I get that a lot. There's 2 ways to get those. I use the weak auras, which I have links to in the description below. You could also now do it through another add-on called ERT, Exorcist Raid Tools. I'm not gonna have a walkthrough of how to use either of them, because honestly I'm not the best at explaining those types of things, but because I'll have the links in the description below, just click on them and follow the instructions. So you have to download 2 different weak auras to be able to see the tracker. You have to download a front end and then Zen Tracker main. Once you have those installed, you'll be able to kind of adjust what you'd like. If you go to the front end here, you can choose what you actually want to see, and then you can also whitelist or blacklist by spell. So like, for example, if we go down to, let's go down to utility here, I can check the ones that I don't care about. Like, so I have it set so that the ones that are checked are blacklisted, and I don't need to check people's summon steward. I really don't care. So that one I check so that I don't see it. But like, I may want to see somebody's like mana tide. That might be helpful to me. I may want to track innervate, so I don't have those checked. Just play around with the settings. You can even change what rows they show up on. As far as the cooldowns on the raid frames, so that's where you see like a defensive pop up, somebody ice blocks. If somebody pops like combust, even though I know that's not a defensive, but I do like to track them on the raid frames, because when people combust, they normally pull aggro. So I like to track that, because then I'll know I need to bop. But mainly defensives are on there. A lot of times my tank will ask me, hey, when AD falls, can you please sack me? And so I don't have to like click on him and try to look for a buff. I could just see on his frame that it's ending in like 2 seconds, and then that's when I know to pop a cooldown on him. One weak aura I do recommend to everybody is this personal resource display. I know you can do this in game, but I really don't like how the one in-game, the default Blizzard one, moves as you move your camera angle. I'm really used to having a static one because I used to use an add-on before Blizzard implemented that feature that put a resource display on the screen and it was stagnant. So if you're looking for one, I highly suggest this weak aura because it's really helpful, and you can customize it too by combo points, holy power, whatever you want. I actually use a separate holy power weak aura because I really like having the blocks and having them show when they're empty. That's just me, that's a personal preference, but that is how I have that set up. And then I have them also set up to hide when I'm out of combat because I really don't care. Now, as far as the party frames go, I actually use the Blizzard default party frames. I find that they are the most lightweight because obviously it's default, and I also find that they show the most amount of information in the cleanest way. You can download an add-on like Healbot or Grid or whatever and customize them. You can even use LVUI. LVUI has a really nice party frame and raid frame setup, but I don't like configuring all those add-ons. I try to minimize the amount of work that I have to do in between patches, if I'm being honest with you. So I just use the Blizzard default for Mythic Plus. And the last thing is Plater. So I never was really big on nameplate add-ons, but I find them really useful because you can really track a lot of things with them. Debuffs that I put on them, it'll track their enrages, it'll track any of their weird buffs that you need to watch out for, cast timers. The profile that I use is from another YouTuber named Quasi. Highly recommend his videos, he's really good, and he also has a lot of really awesome UI stuff. So I will put a link to his YouTube channel in the description below, and you can follow him and go to his website. Anyway, with that, I think I pretty much covered everything. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the description below. Although, full disclosure, I'm not really good at walking people through things in text. So if you need troubleshooting help, unfortunately, I won't be able to provide that. But hopefully, I was able to answer some of the questions that you have as far as what my UI does and why. And I hope to see you soon.